for an interview, and relax yourself, and we'll get going here. So I've got the first question. Tell me the thing that you're most proud of about yourself.
I'm most proud of my ability to balance both school and social activities. I'm in Thomas Dale's Specialty Center for Music, and so I have the music ability, but I also am captain, well, I was captain of the volleyball team this year, and so I had that social aspect, and I'm really proud of myself for finding a good balance between the two.
Thank you.
When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
I see a strong, independent woman who isn't afraid to speak her mind, has opinions, and isn't afraid to let people know those opinions, and is destined for success since I will be attending James Madison University in the fall and working towards my physical therapy education, well, occupation.
A related question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm not talking about your profession.
I want to be involved in my community, and I want to be a mother, but I also want to be able to volunteer and give back to the people who have given so much time and effort towards me and making me the woman that I am today.
Kaleigh, as a young person who goes to school and the events that have occurred across our nation and our schools, what are your viewpoints on gun control?
I feel that there should be some sort of regulation on guns. I don't feel that any civilian needs a military-grade weapon. I feel that that's not necessary. I do think that guns for hunting and for sport are okay. I feel that they're a part of our history, and that there's nothing really bad about those types of guns, but I do feel that military-grade weapons are not necessarily for the average citizen to have access to, at least not easy access to.
If I asked you to write a book about yourself, what would the title be and why?
A book about myself would be titled, it would have to be a journey to success.
Okay.
A young woman's story about achieving her dreams and becoming a physical therapist, and also participating in activities that she loves to do, and being a mother and volunteering. So
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaleigh, concerning morality, what is the most important piece of advice you could share with a good friend?
Concerning morality, I would share the moral of abstaining to have sex until marriage, or at least until you know you have someone very important in your life, and also making good decisions and really learning from the decisions that you make, and learning from the mistakes that you make and growing from them.
So to change things up a little bit and on a little lighter note, do you have a joke you could tell us?
What do you call a nosy pepper?
What?
All up in your business.
That's good. Celebrities are always saying that they want privacy, privacy, privacy. Given the public nature of the professions that they chose to be in, just exactly how much privacy should we afford them?
Well, I feel that everybody deserves privacy, and like Princess Diana, she was so much in the public eye that she died running away from it. So I feel that they should be allowed not as much privacy as an average person gets, because there's no way they would get that amount of privacy. But when they're in their homes or when they're on vacation with their children, they shouldn't be followed by paparazzi. I mean, they should have that right to privacy and shouldn't be followed all the time.
Great. What makes you happy?
Being with my family really makes me happy. I'm really nervous about leaving them next year and going to college, but I feel that it's a good opportunity for me. It'll be a good change. And I really love being with them. They're so much fun.
Thank you.
Kaleigh, there's been a lot of debate as of late in the government about the government's involvement in a woman's right to choose along the lines of abortion. What is your opinion on the amount of government involvement, or if there should be none at all, in a woman's right to choose if she wants an abortion or not?
Well, I do not like too much government involvement in people's personal decisions. I feel that sometimes there is a certain need for it, but in terms of a woman's right to choose, I don't think the government should legislate whether or not a woman should take, because an abortion affects both the woman and the child. So you have to also think about the woman's life, and would it be the best decision for her to just terminate the pregnancy, or would it be even in the best interest of the child? So not having to go through foster care if something goes wrong, so I don't think the government should legislate a person's right to choose.
Okay, I'm going to stay political on you. The Defense of Marriage Act is an act that has been under fire quite a bit here lately. In your personal opinion, is it something that should be maintained from what some people would say as a moral belief? Or is it something that we should do away with because it is a civil liberty for anyone to love who they choose to love?
I think anyone should have the right to love who they choose to love. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do have friends who have gone through that, and it's very emotionally taxing, and it's difficult for them to not be allowed to have the same rights as other people just because of who they choose to love. So I feel that they should have the same rights.
Okay. I'm doing interviews for a new best friend. Tell me one reason that I should choose you.
I'm extremely loyal. I'm honest. I'll tell you how it is. I love to have fun. I love to shop, and I love to have girl talk, and I'm athletic, and I would travel the world for a best friend. Like, I would do anything.
If you could go back in history to any one event, what would it be and why?
I would go back to the discovery of Jamestown, even though it was plagued by disease and stuff like that. But I feel that it was very exciting, and it would be interesting to see and experience what those sailors experienced.
Okay, Kaleigh, we've reached that time of the interview. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch upon that we did not ask you about, or do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, this fall I was the Lexus Pursuit of Perfection winner. I had the opportunity to do 2 radio interviews and a television interview, and it was an extremely fun experience to see what news broadcasters and what celebrities have to do with the television interviews and the radio interviews. It had me thinking on my feet, and it was a totally new experience for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaleigh, were you the overall winner?
I was, it's until,
Not till May.
Oh, okay.
I don't find out until May.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Go ahead and sit down. Relax. Take a deep breath. When you-
Yeah, you look great.
Love this whole look. It's just
You look great.
fabulous.
Yeah, the first thing I
Thank
said to
you.
myself when you walked in, I was like, doesn't she look precious? I'm like, you look really cute.
And she always keeps that smile. She
Yeah.
has such a pleasant expression on her
If you get a
face.
chance to talk about the Lexus Scholarship, I want you to make sure they know that you are one of only 30 young people in the Richmond area, because you didn't just say that just now. You said, I was fortunate enough to be selected as one of the Lexus Scholarship winners. Well, the people who are going to be interviewing
have no
you are
idea how
not from
many-
Richmond, so they don't know that there's only 30 of you.
Okay.
And what
From all the
a
schools.
huge honor that is to be selected from all the high schools in Richmond.
I would even add up, just really quickly, add up how many schools that is, because it's a lot. I mean, we all know what, a prestige that is. But the people that are interviewing you have no idea, and that is a huge, huge accomplishment.
And I wrote that down too. I wrote, because if you say I was such and such award winner, if I didn't know what that was, I'd be like, okay, that's great. You know what I mean? But you have to kind of expound upon why that's so great and kind of because if that's in your autobiography, they'll ask you. They might, is it in there?
Yes, I
Okay.
put it in there.
Okay. Just kind of when you have that amount of time, explain to them what it is so they know. And like Marion and Sarah said, explain how prestigious it is and, make it sound like I'm really proud that I won it and I'm one of only 30 people and that's what makes me really amazing. You know what I mean? Like the last minute of the interview is time for you to really talk about yourself without being prompted. So use that time to kind of expound upon that.
I had 3 questions I wanted to ask you, but I only got to ask one. The reason was that some of your answers were a little longer than they might have been, and if you can be more concise in your answers, then you can give the judges the opportunity to ask more questions and learn more about you, and I don't think that can do anything but be good.
Okay.
So, little help on that, a little work on making your answers a little briefer and more concise.
Like I asked you to give me one reason why I should choose you to be my best friend, and you gave me 20.
Yeah.
Including that you fly around the world for me.
That's a pretty good reason.
You can be my bud.
But really, name it, explain it, and wrap it up.
Also,
No, it's
okay. I was gonna say I can hear the nervousness in your voice.
She's doing that clicking thing.
Yeah, I can hear the nervousness in your voice. And what I also noticed, you play viola? Viola? Got it right. Have you ever played an instrument with your mouth where you had to breathe?
No.
Okay.
Well, I sing, but
Okay, so perfect. When you're singing, you know that if you breathe from the bottom of your lungs up, then it's going to give you a greater capacity to do what you need to do versus if you're only using the top half of your lungs. That's what's happening when you're talking. You're only using the top half of your lungs. Because I'm sure you're feeling like, you can't.
I
catch
can
your
tell
breath.
too, yeah, as
Yeah.
a singer, like
Yeah.
all of your stress is
Right
right here.
Yeah, you would know.
Your voice sounded deeper, like you were speaking maybe lower in pitch than you normally did, and I wonder if that was a problem.
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, maybe.
But the whole, right.
It just didn't sound
It's
like you.
it all has to do with your were you nervous?
A little bit.
Okay. But before you perform, because I know you're in the School of Vox, so you perform a lot. Before you perform, I know she gave this advice to another contestant earlier. Whatever pre-performance ritual that you do to calm yourself down, do that before an interview. Because as a performer, before I walk out on stage, if I'm nervous, I can tell that my voice is going to sound shaky before it even comes out. You know what I mean? I can tell that that's getting ready to happen, or my lips getting ready to do a twitch, or something's about to not go right. You know what I'm saying? So like I could tell that your stress was all from here up because of the shakiness in your voice. So if you breathe from your diaphragm, kind of do deep breathing and just breathe your way through it, nobody's going to karate chop you in this interview. Okay? Just try to
When you walk
relax
in,
yourself.
you have such a commanding presence from the time you walk in the door. I enjoyed your interview questions. You're very bright and you're very steady. you're a very happy young lady too, and I admire that. You exude that. Sometimes in your response, there's a bit of giddiness that kicks in. You need to kind of watch that. I enjoyed the journey of being successful. I was glad to hear you say that. I'm going, wow, this lady is on a mission. I'm enjoying this. But stay on point with the subject, and again, walk in to win it. You have it all. You do. Proud of you. You're welcome.
When it comes to controversial questions, what I want you to remember is that everybody that's sitting in front of you has an opinion, but so do you.
Yeah.
And they're not going to judge you on what your opinion is if they disagree with you. What they're going to judge you on is if you know how to express your opinion. And I think that you were a little bit scared about what people were going to maybe think of your abortion answer. And so you started to say something. And the reason I put my head down was because I was trying to listen very closely to what you were going to say to see if it sounded like you maybe then started to backtrack. And so just make sure that, you are strong in those convictions. Now, I don't want you to preach to anyone and say, this is what I believe in, but know that they are not judging you on what your answer is. They're judging you on if you have that opinion and you know how to express it. And also know that we were going around the room like this, but they're just going to be asking the questions. And so for me as a judge, after you answered Kay's question about abortion, I was going to look at you and say, well, what about women who use abortion as a form of birth control? So you need to be ready for those follow-up questions. And on the gun question, I would have also said to you, well, as someone who possesses a concealed weapon, how do you feel about me going in, concealed weapons permit, how do you feel about me going into Walmart with a gun to potentially protect myself? So be ready kind of for those follow-up
And you said,
questions.
and she said something about, not that she
She
in
said
a way
for hunting and stuff, yes, but I would have just be kind of prepared for those follow-up questions and just firmly stand. Don't worry about, oh my gosh, am I going to offend this person because of what I'm
Right.
saying?
And you did that when you were standing, when I asked you the question about Jamestown, and then under your breath you mumbled something like at the very end. If you're not sure about something, just stop. Don't feel like you have to add some additional
You don't have to embellish
comments.
your statement.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to justify how you feel about things.
Right.
Or
win
ask-
everybody over.
Right, or
To-
win
for them
anybody.
to have the same
Right.
opinion you have.
Right. You are who you are. You are entitled to your being and your self and your opinions, okay?
And your demeanor is respectful of other people. I think that comes across loud and clear. So that's another reason not to be afraid to answer the way that you really feel.
I found that you answered the way that you felt, then you got off on some tangent, and then you came back and restated all you needed to say to begin with. So I think that just simply speaks
I
to
don't
it.
normally do that, so I don't know why
Well,
this
this
one
is
was different.
It's intimidating a little.
Well, there's a lot of us in here,
And
and
we
you need to
understand
know
that.
there is only gonna be 5 judges, okay? So, in a way, this is good, because this is a little more intimidating for you than what, so now 5 judges is gonna be a piece of cake, right? Right.
I said this before to another candidate, when you walk in the room, don't be intimidated because these are 5 judges sitting here, because you're going to kind of lock up. Don't do that. Just think you're going to walk into 5 friends and let them get to know you. Just relax yourself, woosah. The time I interviewed for a job, it was about 20 candidates and I was number 20. And I walked in, I said, okay, they interviewed the other 19, now they're going to interview the winner.
All right.
Good way to look at it.
And all of their judges wish they were 17.
Yeah.
You have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to send you this so you'll be able to act.